Well, damn, y'all. I had it exactly how I wanted it. I had it exactly how I wanted it, and it wouldn't do what I wanted it to do. And now, all of the sudden, it's working. What does that say? Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. Remember to guard your privacy. Somebody's. Is that you watching?
No.
Hey, somebody's there. Somebody is there. Who's there? Identify yourself. Who is it? You sure that's not you?
I'm pretty sure.
Are you on my live? That's my wife.
Hello.
Are you on my live stream? Hey, we need to turn this off. Would you mind turning that off for me?
What do you want me to turn off? Turn off. You know?
I got three people watching now.
What do you want me to turn off?
Count them. One, two, three. Oh, wait a minute. That's not three. Oh, I shouldn't do that. Hey, turn that off for me, please. What is up? What is up?
Hey,
Psh, get out of here. That's my wife. We got three people watching. Oh, and that's back down to one. What happened? Damn, that bad, huh? So, I'm gonna wait for a few people to get on here. What does that say? Welcome to live chat. Sorry, guys. In case you haven't noticed, I'm kind of new to this. A little bit new to specifically the live thing. What's up, Mark? Keep the great work going, Magus. Magus, is that right? Thank you so much. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting because here, let me fix this. Sorry to be moving you guys around like this, but I had it set up exactly how I wanted to, and for some reason, all right, hey, do me a favor. Do
yeah.
me a favor.
Get there.
All right, guys, stay right there for a minute. Stay right there. Oh, I got 15 people watching now. Holy shit balls, Batman. All right, take those two and jam them in right there.
Jam.
Jam it in.
Right where?
No, no, no. Take the end of the cords and put them in that hole right there.
I got you.
These two both.
Okay.
18 people. Holy hell, the pressure's on, man. TJ and my dust bucket. What is up? How you doing? Man,
Hi, TJ.
I love some of these names. Shit's awesome. Cassandra. How you doing, Cassandra? Robs. Magus again. Everyone double tap the screen. You guys can hear me? Can you guys hear me? Somebody tell me. Yes, no, maybe, don't give a shit. I can do sign language a little bit.
I can't get this to go in the hole. That's what she said.
That's what she said. Yeah.
Okay, wait. I got it.
There you go. Okay, now you will plug that in here.
And what?
Loud and clear, buddy. She said. Okay,
Where?
Cosmic Vision.
Where do I plug it in?
Mark said I'm good too. Plug that in right there. Put that one in that hole.
That's what she said.
There we go. Now it's in the hole. No, you went the wrong way. It's supposed to go in from the bottom. Door. No, seriously. Seriously.
Dude. What's why?
Damn, we dropped to 8 already. People are like, look at all
Yeah.
this, man. He's over here horsing around. What's up, Robs?
Oh my gosh, I shoved it in the hole and now I can't get it out. There's no
Yeah, we're going to start in a minute, guys. I wanted to talk a little bit about this. You know, because I posted this video, I know I have to drill a bigger hole tomorrow. That's what she said.
Oh my gosh.
Bless, this is starting out horrible. Um, you know, I did that video the other day about Liam Payne And I was not expecting the sort of response that I got. The video now has over 3,000 views in literally less than 48 hours. And what's crazier is the responses, because I think myself, just like everybody else, I'm assuming that what is, I mean, at first, the whole thing, you hear someone dives out a balcony window, your first thing you think is the S word, right? We all know what the S word is. But then you hear about the toxicology reports, you hear what was found in his room, you hear all of the, obviously drugs, some of them illicit, some of them not illicit drugs, all found in his room, and you hear that stuff, and then you're like, well, damn, maybe not. Maybe it wasn't the suicide. Maybe this is something where he just got so. Give me a second, guys. There you go. Thank you, honey. Maybe this is one of those things where he just got so fucked up from all the substances that he was taking. He lost his foot. There we go. Good. Good now. Better. Somebody give me some feedback. Good now. You hear me, right? All right. Now we're in business. Geez, guys, sorry about the rough start. You know, when I started this channel, I promise I'll get into it here in a minute. But when I started this channel a while back, I made the promise to my earlier followers. I was like, look, when this thing starts taking off, and when I get to that point of 1,000 subs and start getting monetized and stuff like that, I promise I'm going to invest something into this. I'm going to get myself a laptop. I'm going to buy myself a little camera, all those things. And guess what? I went and I did that today. But I just got home with the stuff an hour or two ago. But I haven't had time to mess with it because I've just been really busy today. I'm a super busy person. So, um, got a laptop down here that I will be using to hopefully cut and edit videos and stuff like that. This microphone right here. I mean, I've had this. This actually goes back ages from when I was producing music and stuff. So I already had that. But I bought myself a little camera to go up here and stuff like that. But I didn't have time to get all of this shit together and figure out how to get it working in a timely manner to where I could actually, you know, do a live stream with you guys. So, see what it said. Oh wow, it's 1:46 a.m. here in Germany. Damn. So that puts you like maybe 6 hours ahead of us. Interesting. Yeah, my son, my eldest son, is from my first marriage. He lived abroad in like Barcelona, then Madrid for a little while, Spain. And that time difference really effed us up bad trying to keep in touch with one another. But yeah, Europe, man, I know it's beautiful. It's horrible to say. I've never been there. But so, all right. So at first, we look at this thing with Liam Payne. You hear about all this shit that's not only in his system, but that is also in his room. Okay, and the first thing you think of, it's got to be one of two things, right? You know, either he was depressed,
going through a lot of shit, which you kind of find out after the fact that he was going through some shit in a lot of areas actually in his life, as I've researched it. But so it's either that, it's either the S word, or when you hear about this cocktail of drugs, especially illicit ones, and got the benzos, you got the alcohol, you got the uppers, the stimulants, the methamphetamines, and the pink cocaine, which is just what, one, two, three, four, five, six. It's got all kinds of shit in it, including hallucinogens and all that stuff. When you look at that stuff, winter freshification, thank you, man. What's going on, bro? So when you look at all that stuff, you have to think to yourself, I mean, that's enough to just put anybody in almost a drug induced delirium or a drug induced coma almost, depending on how much you took of each different thing. Uh, Most everybody that's on my channel has done what? We done some drugs, y'all. I mean, how many between between all the thousands over, I mean, I'm pushing 1100 subscribers now. Between all of the 1100 people in there, how many drugs do you think we've all done together? I'll wait. I mean, just oh, yeah, my wife's on there talking. It's only 750 here. How, I mean, how many truckloads of drugs do you think we could all fill up if you put all of the drugs that all of us as subscribers have done in our lifetime? In our lifetimes, how many truckloads do you think we could fill up of drugs? I mean, a lot, right? A lot. So it's one of two things. Either he committed suicide or he's in some sort of drug induced coma, goes over the balcony, takes a fall, whatever. And at first, you look at it and it's like, it's got to be one of those two things. Well, after I posted this video and folks started commenting on the videos and hollering back at me, I was like, wait, wait, whoa, 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 hold on. Okay, okay. So a lot of people are not at all believing that this was some sort of accident or a suicide. A lot of people don't think that, oh, he's sad, so he just went and ended it. And also, a lot of people don't believe that he was so fucked up with all of the drugs that he just somehow either fell off or jumped off or, not knowingly jumped off or just accidentally went over the balcony. And what I found out is a lot of people think that there is a sinister twist to this whole thing. Okay. And so that's what I want to talk about a little bit tonight. And what I'm going to do here is take my handy dandy laptop. Freedom, what's up? Live and learn. What's going on, man? Good to hear from you, bro. Good to hear from you. So I'm going to take my little handy dandy laptop that I got here that I just bought today, might I add, for you guys. Well, not just for you guys, but mostly. Um, Eventually, I'll do all of this on the laptop and I'll be able to share a screen to you and do all that. So it'll be more interactive. You guys got to give me a little bit of time to learn and get accustomed to it. Um, right now, I just can do it the straight, simple way. All right. So there is one person, Debram, at Debram. I'm assuming I'm saying that right. Yes, no, I don't know. At Debram 2364. So she left quite a few comments. Rob, thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. She left quite a few comments, and it became clear to me really quickly that yeah, this person knows what's going on. This lady knows what's going on. She's, listened to the tapes, listened to the call, the manager of the hotel, the frantic call that was made, stuff like that. And she said some other things in here that I didn't know anything about when I made the original video the other day. So I wanted to go through some of that stuff and let's all kind of listen to it together and collectively see what we're thinking here. And you guys are welcome to add some other stuff up here. I can see what you guys are typing, obviously. So the first comment here left by Debram2364 is Liam fits so easily into his passing, doesn't he? Heavily intoxicated, high as a kite, totally out of it, mental breakdown, suicidal tendencies. Quick question: does that guarantee it was suicide or accidental? I think that was a rhetorical question. If you squash all the conspiracy theory and look solely at authority release statements, the emergency call, witness accounts from the hotel guests, the coroner's findings, the irregularities between them, using common sense and logic, indicate neither suicide or accident. Okay? So immediately I was like, oh, okay, all right. And this is not the first comment that I got of this nature, right? But then they continue. Hotel witnesses say Liam was convulsing in the hotel lobby. Okay? What is the instant normal reaction to that? Call medical services. Instead, hotel staff, witnesses again, carried him to his room. So witnesses say Liam's in the lobby convulsing and going to seizures and stuff like this. And instead of calling for medical services, what do? Witnesses say that they carried his ass back to his room. You'll be all right. Just get his drunk ass up. Just wipe the foam out of his mouth. He'll be all right. Get your ass up there. Oh, he can't walk? Guess we'll have to carry his ass. Get that side. Get his left arm. You know what I mean? And so now here we are looking at a situation where you have witnesses seeing this happen, and they continue here. This begs the question: why the avoidance of medical help? After Liam's passing, his friend Roger, that the hotel staff were supplying him with drugs, said, I'll say, okay, sorry. His friend Roger, I think what she meant to say is, said that the hotel staff were supplying him with drugs, right? I mean, when you get these people who are rich and famous and they're worth, I think it was reported he's worth around $50 million. I mean, come on, One Direction was huge, right? I mean, he made quite a pretty penny with them. I'm sure enough to last him the rest of his life if he did his investments correctly. But you've always got people who are having anything to do with drugs or selling drugs trying to get close to people like that, right? In my opinion, that's one of the hardest things about being famous like that, especially if you're a person who struggles with, one, mental illness, two, drug addiction, right? Being famous is not the place to be, if you struggle with either of those two things, in my opinion. So the hotel staff were supplying him with drugs. So there you have your common sense reason to avoid getting anyone else involved. It becomes a self-preservation situation. You don't want to be arrested for supplying him Class A drugs. The hotel staff would not have known that Roger knew. Liam was blatantly having a bad reaction to these drugs and in need of medical help that needed avoidance. On the eventual emergency call, the first thing the hotel staff member points to is that Liam is smashing up his room. We all heard that, right? He's up there tearing up the room and shit. The emergency handler asks him, can they get into his room? He replies, no. Yeah. Now, with this one right here, I would have to kind of beg to. Now, I I did listen to the tape. The manager was actually speaking in Spanish. I do understand a little bit of Spanish, but the particular video I was listening to, it was not translated or anything like that. Um, but I would have to say, with that, were they saying that they didn't have a key, or were they saying, no, the dude might be dangerous. He's tearing up shit. I can't send any of my staff in his room, you know? And because I would have to push back on that a little bit just to say, probably a good idea to not go in the room. If he's up there tearing up shit, throwing shit against the wall, you know, it's probably a good idea not to go in the room. You see what I'm saying? And so they probably, in that situation, would be doing the right thing by involving the police. Uh, a quick story. When I was 19 years old and my brother was about 22, I have an older brother. He was going to school at a local university, well, about an hour and a half from here. We were there partying one night downtown Charlotte, and a friend of his birthday, one of his bunk mates was having a birthday, so we rented out this hotel, had several people there. My brother and I leave to walk out of the room. Just like, I don't remember what we were doing, like to go downstairs and, you know, get a drink, or maybe we were walking to the car or something like that. And we're just walking, right? We're just walking. And all of a sudden, here comes this guy, like 5'6", with blood running all down his neck, all down his chest, all down his back, everywhere. And literally, when I looked at him, his ear was filleted to the, I mean, his ear was nearly severed from his head. Okay. My brother and I come walking out. Both me and my brother, I'm 6'1". My brother's like 6'2", almost 6'3". You know, we're decent sized guys. We're not tiny people. And this man guy, who was probably 5'6", 5'7", bleeding all over the place, his ears half hanging off, walks straight up to me. Never met the guy before in my life or seen him. Walks straight up to me. Been lifting a little weights, have you? And pushes me. Literally, just pushes me. And you know, of course, I step back a couple of feet, and me and my brother are both like, what the fuck is going on here? You know what I mean? And it was one of those things where, you know, and then immediately we smell liquor. We notice immediately, and he starts banging on this door that we're standing near at the time. And so he's banging on the door, and we stand there for a minute. And of course, you know, my brother and I, neither one of us are violent people, so we just kind of stand there for a minute and, like, you know, hitting the button to try to get on the elevator. Because when you're dealing with someone like that, I mean, you know, there's two of us, one of him, both of us are bigger than him. We could have beat that dude to the ground, but you know, dude could have had a gun. This dude could have, the condition that he was in, anything could have happened. He could have went into his room and got a gun and came back and shot both of us. So we were just like, okay, we just better leave this shit alone. You know, when somebody walks up to a random person, you've been lifting some weights, and just pushes them, they're not really in the kind of state of mind where you don't really want to fuck with that person. You know what I mean? So we go downstairs, do whatever we have to do, and when we come back up to our room and we walk by the room of the door that he was banging on, that's what we hear. We hear exactly what this hotel staff probably heard when Liam Payne was up there tearing the shit out of his room. I mean, it sounded like he was in there throwing over tables, taking lamps and slamming them against it. So obviously, this dude was completely inebriated, completely intoxicated, completely drunk. And here's my point in that. That night, the hotel staff, none of the hotel staff went up and, can you imagine? Like the bellhop guy. Everything okay in there? You know, or the maids, the room cleaning ladies go by with their little cart, and they hear somebody, motherfucker, you know. I mean, even the manager of the hotel, they know when to call the police and kind of stay away from stuff like that. So that's a long way of me saying I can understand why they may have said they didn't have a key. Obviously, they did have a key. Maybe they just weren't willing to use the key, right? So they were told at that time, but they go on to say here that what kind of hotel does not have keys to get in? Cleaners, security, front desk has duplicate keys. And that was the first red flag as a lie, which 2 days later was verified when the guest said hotel staff were going in and out of his room. Okay, so now you have guests saying that there were staff, hotel staff, going in and out of Liam Payne's room. Okay, and this is apparently earlier in the night. Well, obviously before all the shit went down, right? So you have hotel staff going in and out of his room. So I mean, maybe they were bringing him towels. Maybe they were bringing him extra bars of soap. No, no, that wouldn't have seemed weird, right? Obviously, what was happening here seemed very weird, right? So it was hotel staff that told the police he was alone in his room. Well, hang on. The man in the room next door says that that was not always the case. They happily lied to the emergency caller about getting in his room, having supplied him drugs. They have a reason to say he was alone in his room. You see how quickly following a trail of factual breadcrumbs and using common sense and logic, things aren't as clear as definitely no third party involvement. Right. Well, and I do want to say, the original video that I made was referring mainly to the toxicology reports, what was found. Um, a lot of this stuff I definitely was not aware of. So when I read this, I was definitely, interested in talking more about it. So, so it says here, the guest said minutes before Liam went off the balcony, there was a loud scream. But okay, Liam was out of his mind. So let's pass that off as just him, but to be noted nonetheless. I don't understand that part. Pass that off that it was him, but to be noted nonetheless. Gotcha. Hotel staff say Liam punched the TV. Okay. There's a photo of the smashed TV. The coroner says that there are no markings anywhere on Liam's hands. Anyone carry to punch a TV? Care, I'm sure is what they were meaning to say there. Does anyone care to punch a TV to see if there isn't at least some sort of noticeable injury on your hands? Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So you can see where there's kind of parts of the story missing. You can see where there's, you know, especially with the hotel staff going in and out of the room earlier in that night. But then when the shit hits the fan, all of a sudden now we don't have a key, we can't go in the room, and the fact that they were also, I guess after he had dived off, took a fall or whatever happened to him, I guess after that happened, they can kind of say whatever they want as far as the events that led up to him having done that. Okay, so yeah, I kind of see where that's going. So he was supposedly punching the TV and all that, according to the hotel staff, but yet the coroner sees no injuries or anything like that on his hands. I have a list of things like this. As long as my arm, I would be here hours saying, okay, got a list. As long as my arm, I would be here hours saying how one official thing contradicts another, whereby no one will ever be able to convince me this was a suicide or an accident, despite Liam's body pumped with drugs. I just think it is incredibly sad that everything has made it easy to checkbox for him. as even accidentally it being his doing. Okay. So many contradictions in factual information and evidence do not tally up. Yeah. I get that. I get that for sure. Because you're talking about, you know, I mean, the guy went to rehab back in the day. Those who know him, I'm sure, even media members. As far as One Direction was a huge band, obviously. So I wasn't a huge follower or fan of One Direction. I knew of them, and of course, I heard, a couple of their real popular songs. I remember hearing, but I wasn't a huge fan, so I wasn't hearing of, like the pop culture surrounding them and, One Direction news and things like that during that time. But there are absolutely people that were, and there were media that knew, and there were people that were close to him that knew, and I'm sure people from close by where he lived knew. The band members that were close to him knew. People knew that he had gone to rehab, that he'd suffered with depression, that he was having some personal relationship sort of problems and things like that. So people obviously knew about this stuff, right? They knew it. So I can absolutely understand how it kind of what she's saying, that it kind of makes him an easy target to just say, "Oh, he was so fucked up on drugs that he got out of his mind and just started tearing shit up, and he was so fucked up he just didn't know what he was doing and ends up going off the balcony." Um, you know, I got to be honest, it's a tough one for me because I have been so fucked up before, uh, that I did kind of lose time and don't remember what I was doing. However, I was obviously doing things, and I was told by other people that I was doing things, and there was even evidence in the house and on the property that I had, in fact, been doing things. So I have been there before, where I was really kind of far out of it, as far as really intoxicated or inebriated, whether it be from alcohol or a combination of other things. So I can completely see, um, I can see where she's coming from with the doubts regarding this, and a lot of it definitely does not add up. I agree with that. But at the same time, you know, I can also see a world where, especially if it is true, that a lot of these substances were being mixed together. The benzodiazepines, the alcohol, the stimulants, the pink cocaine, which has hallucinogen in it, and stimulant, ecstasy, ketamine. I mean, all these different things. If he was, in fact, taking a lot of these different things, then, man, I could definitely see where, and also too, I want to say this. There were reports that he had been doing well recently in weeks leading up to that period of time. In other words, he had been sober, right? And you know how that is. If you're a regular drug user, then you go sober for even just a few days, and then you use again. That's the closest to the first time you'll ever be. You're like, oh, yeah, because your body gets used to it when it's an active drug use and you're using all the time. You go a few days without it, and then you turn around and use. Your body kind of has become desensitized to it again, right? And so hearing that maybe he was more sober leading up to it, and then he was having all of these different substances coming at him at once, if it is in fact true. If the toxicology report, which they're not completely finished with it yet, but they did release a few things that they said were found in his body, and then other things that were supposedly found on the premises, right? And it's enough of a cocktail to fuck you up to a point where I think you could absolutely accidentally do just about anything. I want to be completely honest. I do believe that that could happen. Not saying it did, and I definitely agree that a lot of the detail that the guest and the hotel staff are giving are not lining up, and I want to look more into that. So they continue here. Yes, I only draw opinions based in fact. I have a degree in media. Yeah, yeah. I do not believe a single thing mainstream media says. It's BS. The only time I believe anything on MSM is an interview with the actual person. So words coming out of that person's mouth. I drew my conclusions off of the emergency call and I made sure to listen to a few English translations, not work from one. Some had varying translations of sentences, but everyone I listened to gave the same result of the questionable things that made no sense. It is a fact that Roger told police two hotel staff gave him drugs. Okay, so this guy Roger is saying that there were definitely hotel staff giving him drugs. One being the cleaner, the person who cleans the room. Eh, yeah. So, and I'm going to wrap this up soon. I really appreciate you guys joining me, but I want to say this. That absolutely, I can see that. I can absolutely understand that. Sounds like there was, you know, these hotel staff. I don't know if they were actually drug pushers or, he's a member of One Direction. You just kind of want to be close to people like that, I've experienced that. A lot of you guys know a little bit of my background, from in music, and I was in singing groups and stuff, and I've actually rubbed shoulders with a few people. I mean, I've ridden around in the car and hung out with one of the members of Blackstreet. You remember the group Blackstreet? No Diggity, No Doubt. That guy produced a couple of our demos. I mean, I drove that guy's car. Like, I went to restaurants and ate with that guy. Had personal, just one-on-one conversations with that guy. That guy came over to my house at one point and met my parents. It, and it is one of those things where you feel kind of proud being close to people like that, and that's something about stardom that's just never going to change. Just regular average people are always going to think that stars wipe their asses and put their clothes on completely different than what regular people do, and it's just not true. They're people. They have frailties. They're humans. They have weaknesses, just like we do, just like we all do, right? Except they're under probably a million times the pressure as a regular person like us, right? Living in glass houses with everybody watching. And when you do something stupid, not just your friends or your family know, the whole freaking world knows about it, right? And so that's absolutely one of those things where I can see the hotel staff, and that definitely does make it sketchy. Hotel staff's coming in, giving him drugs, giving him some pink cocaine or whatever it is. I'm not saying that that's what they gave him, but you know, reports are they gave him drugs. They gave him something, right? And if that is in fact the case, then you can absolutely see why they wouldn't want to put themselves out there when it came to the police coming, and they didn't want their names to be synonymous with what ended up being the final result that night. Okay, I'm gonna read the rest of this particular comment, and then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna cut it. Been on here about 40 minutes, something like that. So this is definitely horrible, but thousands of people have unfortunately seen the photo of Liam passing. It popped up on X. I genuinely didn't search that. I put in Liam and it came up. As such, I looked at it. I'm not an expert. I will always say that, but I tried to apply logic to how he landed. He was completely flat on his back in a star shape. Very fortunately for his family, excuse me, he still looks like Liam. There are no facial injuries, no front body injuries, no top of his head injuries. He was not turned over, This is definitely how he landed on his back. The injury is from the back of his head, and blood is coming from there and his ear. A nurse told me a nurse told me fractured skull results in blood coming from the ears. The coroner said he died from a fractured skull. Absolutely 100% the photo is not fake. He has the same clothes on he had in the lobby. Yeah. Honestly, if you see it, it is very evident that it is real. If you think about it, although 3 floors is high, it is definitely too high with speed of falling. As I said, you literally cannot stand on the balcony ledge. It's a thin piece of glass in his state, or even anyone with tightrope skills. I don't see how you could go forward facing, but let's say he did. Is there enough drop time to flip over? How can you fall backwards, up, and over? Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, I admit it's definitely hard to wrap your brain around it. Uh, I, I just keep going back to times in my own life where I have done really stupid stuff or pretended to or almost did really stupid stuff when I was really fucked up or inebriated or whatever. And absolutely, I have done and come close to doing things that could have caused me serious injury. I was just very fortunate that it didn't happen that way for me. But yeah, it says here very bizarre way to land. There's 100% no possibility he was put there, played down. That is lunacy. What are you going to do? Walk him past guests, etc. So it definitely is from the balcony, but as completely and utterly non-expert, I think a fall would result in a different land of your body. It's more like being dropped from a sort of cradle holding position. But that part is pure speculation. The only other way I can see your body landing like that is if you were hanging onto the glass on the outside of the balcony. Maybe that's plausible. The one thing I do not know is if the coroner has said whether any limbs were broken. Uh, I heard that was not. I actually heard that it was all internal injury. Internal. Obviously, there's some external bleeding as well. You think about the head and the ears. But I heard that it was all internal. From the impact of the fall. Um, as I say, all limbs are flat. The medical responder said it's his job when arriving on scene to try to save life. But not only was Liam dead, but he had incompatible injuries to life. With that in mind, surely they would not have even moved him. Honestly, this does not fully stack up. Am I wrong? Absolutely, I could be 100% wrong, but the evidence in front of me is definitely questionable. Yeah. Um, yeah, and there's some. I mean, she's not the only person. This person here to go Roland. Skips to go Roland, 975. He says, I feel that he was set up. They did it on purpose. He was waiting for his visa, and he would not do that to his child. Yeah, yeah, I know. Well, no, I mean, I see what you're saying there. But there's always the idea that if he was on the sort of cocktail of drugs where he was just completely fucked up beyond recognition, and you don't always do things that are rational. A lot of times it's just complete front. When you get that fucked up, a lot of times, if you're coherent or conscious at all, it's completely like just frontal lobe lizard brain. You have no concept of rationalization, no concept of thinking forward, no concept of considering consequences of what you might be about to do, or even knowing what you're about to do. In many cases, it is possible. It is possible to get that fucked up. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, absolutely, of course, in a sober mind state, obviously he wouldn't do that to his child. He wouldn't do that to his family as well. I heard his father was really, really torn up about it. It's nonsense that he was killed. Another person, uh, AJR Wild. It's nonsense that he was killed because of drugs. If you look at it critically, he was murdered. Illuminati ritual killing. I mean, I'm telling you, man, people, by and large, people don't believe that this was some sort of accident or some sort of or suicide or drug induced accident. Um, Michael Johnson, or Michelle, I'm sorry, Michelle Johnson, 4029, all rubbish. Liam was taken out, just like the rest of them that don't toe the line. Wow. Well, why did he mix up so much chemicals? Could have a stroke or a heart attack. Yeah. I mean, well, you're in the state of mind on Clonopin or any other narcotic or drug. Usually you have people around and you're not in a dangerous place like he was. That's why somebody should have stayed in the room with him. They put him back in that room knowing he was acting crazy. I see a lawsuit coming against the hotel. Yeah, that's another thing too. That's another thing too. That's a good video to do. I need to look into that. I need to see if they're the family, especially, are looking to possibly. I mean, come on, you could have called for help. You could have called for help. You see him in that state of behavior, but you know, it's like we just read, like we just talked about. If they were complicit in giving him drugs and being a part of what was being done to him and for him, then and they were complicit in that, then obviously, you know, they're not going to tell everything 100% truth to the authorities. They're just not. They're just not. Josh, what's up, bro? What's going on, man? Good to hear from you. I'm about to jump off here, guys. I've been here for almost 50 minutes. I need to get I need to get up with my kid. Um, Real quick before I go, 1,000 subscribers now, guys. I've been working for that for quite a while. I've told everyone that once I get to that point and I can get monetized, I'm going to get myself some equipment so I can start beefing up my shit. I've done that. I've got my laptop here. I've got a professional grade camera I'm going to start using. I'm going to start working on editing some of the videos and stuff like that. I just got the stuff this evening, so I hadn't had time to really, mess with it at this point. But guys, look out for me. Look out for me. I put time and effort into this stuff, and give me a donation. There are ways you guys can give me a donation now. Hook a brother up. I'm not trying to get rich off this, but there's ways for you to do it. There's ways for you to look out for a brother. You know what I mean? So I would appreciate it. There's super chats. There's ways to donate money and stuff like that. So I would be appreciative of that if you guys would do that, because I do spend quite a lot of time on it, and I wouldn't be well over 1,000 subscribers now if I hadn't. I want it to be bigger than that. I'm I'm looking to go to the moon, baby, and carry all you with me. But anyway, well, look, I appreciate, I know it's kind of last minute where I was like, yo, I'm going live. We're going to talk about this. If I would have, set it up, this particular video that we're talking about here has well over 3,000 views at this point on my channel. So absolutely, I think if I would have set you guys up a little better, a little more in advance, we probably could have gotten more people to join the live stream and stuff like that. And I'll do it again. We'll do it again. Um, but I just had a crazy day. Had a lot going here, going there, running back and forth. Shopping, getting this stuff. Starting a new job on Monday, a sales job. I'll tell you guys a little bit more about it later. But yeah, that's where we're at. I'm gonna jump off here. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great night. And yeah, check out my next video. Watch me. I'm going to keep right on going. Popular news, different topics. If you have a topic that you think I should talk about, hit me up with it. I'm open. I'm open. And I'm open minded in hearing what you guys have to say about a lot of this stuff too. Obviously. Obviously, you know. So all right. You guys have a great night. I will see you next time. Have a good one. Peace.